I was born in the village to parents who have never been to school before.
Okay.
So I grew up looking after cattle and on the farm. The whole village, there was no school, and there is still no school in that village where I was born. So when I migrated to Australia, I came here with a very clear vision and a very clear purpose and understanding of what I was looking for. That guided my choices every day and my decision making every day. And I would remind myself why I came to Australia. And this is something I say to the community members every day and the young people, that if we ask ourselves that question, why did we come here? Why our parents actually come here? Then every single decision we make every day in terms of how we spend our time every day, what we choose to do, our choices, we will make those choices very carefully.
G'day Australia. Today we are starting a brand new series called Footprint Beyond Borders. Today we invited very respected African Community member, chairman, and last but not least, Australia's biggest award winner, OAM award winner, Benny Bol. Benny, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Amit. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, Benny, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and about your background, if you don't mind to ask?
Thank you. I'm originally from South Sudan, very remote part of South Sudan. That's where I was born. Okay. I was born in the village to parents who have never been to school before.
Okay.
So I grew up looking after cattle and on the farm. That's the life of our people. My parents and the whole village, there was no school, and there is still no school in that village where I was born and raised. And I grew up during the Civil War that was once described as Africa's longest civil war. And I spent most of my childhood life looking after cattle. And for us, I'm from a tribe called Dinka.
Okay.
And the Dinka is the largest tribe in South Sudan.
Okay.
And we have a very special affinity and relationship with cows and cattle. They play a very significant role in our culture as Dinka people, that our life is kind of significantly attached to the cows. Majority of our people, their names are driven from the colors of the cows, depending on the number of cows that were paid for, like by your father and all that.
That's a symbol.
So it's really, really very special way in our tradition, our culture. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Could you please share with our audience what led you to migrate in Australia?
Like I mentioned earlier, I was born and grew up during the Civil War in Sudan.
What year?
I was born in 1984. Okay. In my document, you will see 1983.
Okay.
And I migrated to Uganda in East Africa in the year 2001 as a teenager. Alone, left my immediate family members in South Sudan. Okay. And I came with my stepsister.
Okay.
And
what year you came here?
Yeah, no, I went to
In
Uganda
Sudan.
first in 2001.
Okay.
And then I spent about 6 years in Uganda, where I completed my high school.
Okay.
And then I migrated to Australia as a refugee in 2007. So I've been here since 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know it's the refugee. It's a more tougher challenge to migrate in Australia. If you don't mind to ask, like what were some of the challenges or difficulty you faced during your migration journey?
Well, like any other person, it's not easy to leave your original home country and leave behind the people who are important in your life and your culture and traditions and everything, and then you settle in a whole new kind of environment.
Yeah.
So you go through not only cultural shock, but you miss the support network, the people who play a significant role in your life. And you start to build a new family and new friends and relatives and in an environment completely different from not only your culture and traditions, but also how you were raised. We are from a collectivist culture where we stay together, a big family, extended family, everyone staying together. And you migrated to Australia where everyone's on their own, going about their own life.
Yeah.
And it presents you with a significant number of challenges, systemic barriers and lack of understanding of the system and support and where to go about in your daily life, social issues, economic issues. And by the time I arrived here, so it was more about understanding everything, looking for a job, just labor job. By the time I had just finished high school, my plan was just to work briefly and support my family, and then started my university. So that was my plan. Mm-hmm. And as I finished university, graduated and started to look for my professional job. So that's also presented different challenges, because when you're looking for just labor kind of work, it's different from when you're looking for a professional job. So that come with a lot of systemic barriers and a lack of network and connection and all of that. So there were so many different things that I had to navigate.
Yep.
And the good thing, obviously, in Australia, you would come across some negative things, but there's a large number of people, very generous, kind people out there who are willing to help. So I was able to build a vast network of friends and professional connections, and made my way through, and I was able to find a job. And since then, I've been not just focusing on how to support myself and navigate the system, but I've spent almost my entire life here in Australia fighting for the community and advocating for the inclusion, social justice, and also opportunity for people from minority background to get into leadership role. Where in Australia, where multiculturalism is not just seen as something we celebrate during the festivals, which seem to be an expectation of too many people when there are cultural festivals and everyone comes together and dance, show their cultural dance tradition, food and all that. True. I do strongly believe, I appreciate and I acknowledge that's important part of our social and fabrics, but I do believe that for a newly emerging community like African community and other multicultural community, the best way to integrate them in the system is to give them the opportunity to be part of the institutions, especially in the leadership role, where young people grow up and they can see some role model that we can make it if you work hard, so you will make your way up. So you feel proud and you feel belong. But if multiculturalism and diversity exists on the street, but not across the institutions where decisions are made, then it's very easy for members of the community and young people to feel they don't belong. So this
Sure.
is just something we talk about, but practically it's not there. So these are the things that I advocate for and identify the like-minded people in leadership role that we can work together and create those opportunities.
That's wonderful, Benny, and very well how to put it in proper way. That's must admit it. How did you overcome these challenges and settling into new life in Australia? It's not easy, for sure. Culture backgrounds and culture shock, and then English. There's lots of troubles. How you come out of it? Please.
Well, I think that's a very good question. It just comes down to a couple of things. Number one is around the values, my family values, how I was raised, and how we were raised by our parents, and instill in us some very strong values of the purpose of life. So when I migrated to Australia, I came here with a very clear vision and a very clear purpose and understanding of what I was looking for. That guided my choices every day and my decision making every day. And I would remind myself why I came to Australia. And this is something I say to the community members every day and the young people, that if we ask ourselves that question, why did we come here? Why our parents actually come here? Then every single decision we make every day in terms of how we spend our time every day, what we choose to do, our choices, we will make those choices very carefully because we are reminded of why we are in Australia. And reflecting on my journey and my culture, my values, and all the factors that led to me leaving my village in the first place, something that I never anticipated would happen. The thing that guided me to overcome all the challenges that I was talking about. And I made sure that I would only get involved in things that would contribute significantly to my purpose of being in Australia. And also, I do believe in the importance of knowing that we do not live forever. So you live for a certain period of time. You don't know how long you're going to live. Every single day is a gift. Every single day that you wake up alive is a gift. And I do believe in the importance of legacy. And I personally, I've studied a lot of religions as part of my university's studies, and thing to do with eternal life. For example, I do believe that the real eternal life is what you do on earth, like the work that you do and how you're going to be remembered by your family, by your community, and by everybody. So if you do good things, positive things that you can be remembered for as part of your legacy, it's like you haven't died. So if you die, your name would be remembered forever. And we have those choices where we decide how we can be remembered every day.
Wonderful, Benny. Wonderful. I'm telling you, it's like a saint talking. You're a Buddha.
Yeah.
No,
well,
I can tell you, man.
I think
that's so deep.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's so deep.
Thank you.
And it's kind of, I'm telling you, this is the whole purpose. To even one person can understand and be able to change one person's life. That's matter. These words can change lives. That's so deep, man.
Absolutely.
That's all.
And it takes you to how all the things that we enjoy today are a result of the previous generation's work. And I usually say we do have similar moral obligation to work hard for the next generations, and things don't just happen.
True.
People have to have a vision, a bold vision. People have to have a long-term plan and work very hard to achieve their plan. And all the great things that we are enjoying, and this has been my message to the community members, that developed countries like Australia did not just develop on their own, or God created these countries as developed.
True.
It was a work of people who had a good vision, a long-term strategic vision, where they were like, okay, we want our great children to live a better life. And the only way that can happen is for us to lay a very strong foundation through the creation of very strong institutions of governance that shape the behavior of the people. And when leaders focus on a vision and how to achieve that vision, and focusing on the institutions, the foundations of governance, that is why Australia and other countries have managed to develop themselves and also create peace, harmony, and stability, where all those people who tend to kill each other in their own original countries live in peace and harmony here. And it's the same people, if you go back home to their countries, they're fighting each other, they're killing each other like animals, but here they live in peace.
Exactly.
Because of the institutions, the rule of law, the system that has been put in place in a way that everybody's the same. Yes, there are systemic issues here and there.
Exactly. It's everywhere. But compared to the rest of the world,
relatively, like
Australia's blessed.
Doing we're doing extremely well. And the question is, people are not created bad.
True.
The system actually make people tend to be bad. And all these great people doing great things, whether religious groups or cultural group, ethnic group that keep fighting each other, now they invite each other here to their events. People go to the mosque, they go to the church. Muslim will go to the church events. Christian will go to the mosque to celebrate with the Muslims. And then they're celebrating together here and there, and different tribes, different ethnic group inviting each other.
Not extremist one.
Nothing
in
at
Australia.
all.
It's even some political party trying to copy what is happening in US, and they want to make Australia great again. And it's nothing working here. That's the beauty. And
not at all.
God bless Australia, man, for this, for sure.
Absolutely.
It is kind of, I always say, like, look, we don't need a smart cities. We only need a smart people. We need a smart citizen who take a decision wisely. They don't abuse the system.
Absolutely.
That's all matter, And as you talk about the how long we're gonna live and that kind of stuff, and the people, even some when we are young, we say, we only live once, right? Let's go have fun or something. No, we live every day. We only gonna die once. And
that's a tragedy when people say that. Go out there and enjoy yourself because you don't know how you're going to live. That is a very misleading kind of things, because the most important thing is the impact that we make in people's life, positive impact. And what you do every day to change lives. And if you spend your life like that, then you can contribute to your legacy. And every decision and choice we make every day contribute to our legacy and how we're going to be remembered. And we've got those choices where you decide. Every day people wake up, some people want to go and swim, others want to go and watch movies, some going to work, others going to uni, studies, school. We are prompted by all of these choices every day. And we just decide as to what is actually important to us.
Yep.
And your sense of purpose of life.
True.
What is life?
True.
And when you decide based on that, then that is why we contribute very differently at different level, because those choices determine where we sit in our society and how we're going to be remembered.
That's true. All right, Benny, you came in Australia 2007. What age on that time is 20s?
Yeah, I was around 22.
22.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me what is your did you go to school or straight away just where you learn this beautifully, very well, you're a good speaker, man. You're a good speaker. So you tell me about study first. In Australia, did you go to...
No, when I came, I landed in Sydney.
Okay.
And then the same day that we arrived with other young men, we were driven to Tamworth, New South Wales.
Okay.
Because our sponsor was working there, one of the young people who first came.
Okay.
He was working in Tamworth regional area, about 8 hours drive from Sydney.
Okay.
So we went there and
exactly the next day or same day?
Yeah, like the same day.
Alrighty.
So we went there and I started working on a meat factory.
Okay.
That was my first job in Australia.
Okay.
And I spent a year, my first year, working in regional areas.
Yep.
Working on the farm, the meat factory, and going to different farms, picking apples and oranges, and picking grapes, and doing pruning, and all this hard work that you spend a lot of time there. So I spent the whole year working on the farm. Then I came to Brisbane.
Okay.
Went back
2009?
Yeah. So I came to Brisbane 2008 first, just to get my travel document so I could go back to visit my relatives and family, get married. And then I came back within a few months to Australia.
Okay.
And then I started my university in 2009 at Griffith University. So I did Bachelor of Arts in International Law, Politics and Government. And then after that, I could not find a job immediately.
Okay. So how long takes to do that degree?
So 3 years full time.
So it's a 2008
2009 to 2012. So I graduated in 2012.
These 3 years you are in Griffith University.
Yeah, I was at Griffith Uni doing my studies there. And then after that, when I couldn't find a job, so I went to UQ for my master's, past master's of governance, public policy and development. So I graduated in 2014 with my first master's, and by that time I was working full time. I had secured my first managerial role in the youth crime prevention. And then while I was doing my master's and finished, I enrolled for my second master's in international law, and graduated in 2019 with my second master's, Griffith Uni.
Impressive, man.
So I've just been in between studying full time and then also working full time.
That's impressive. That's very impressive. So in 2009, when you start studying in Griffith and then done masters, so English is not your first language, right?
Yep.
If I'm not wrong, yeah?
Yep, it's not my first language.
So how could you complete, and what kind of struggle you face, and how did you do? Please tell basically youngsters, because that's the question everybody gonna have. You came here in your 20s, right?
Yep.
And it's
early
young
20s,
man, right, who don't understand or we can say don't have English as his first language. And today we are witnessing a proper speaker, very well spoken. Your words you're using, the way you talk, that's impressive, man. That's
Thank you.
a story to tell.
Thanks. Well,
Tell that.
I
what
think,
challenge you face?
I do believe that there is nothing that's overwhelming or nothing hard to overcome, because the most important thing is to have a vision and the determination to get what you want. If you have the ambition for success, there's something you really want in your life, and you've got some strong personal principles that guide you, even something that other people see as very difficult, you can overcome it. So for me, I've always been a very optimistic person that always believe in achieving anything that I want to achieve. And one of my principles is that if I decide, because I think very analytical and very carefully about what I want to do before I decide to do it. And when I make a decision that this is what I'm going to do, no matter how hard it is, I'll get it done. That's me. And I don't stop until it's done. And if I feel like I don't want to do it, I don't make a decision in the first place to do it. So language was not an issue for me.
Okay.
I did my high school in Uganda in English.
Okay.
And then I came here, and I think the most important thing is being self-aware, knowing your identity and knowing where you came from.
Yep.
And knowing your culture, your values and traditions, and why you came here, like I mentioned earlier. So if you are self-aware, you would appreciate the past, everything that you've gone through, and it's all of that experience and everything that will actually guide you every day.
True.
And you will be able to appreciate and grab all the opportunities ahead of you, because I never believed that I would. First of all, I knew nothing about education.
Yeah.
As I was born to parents who never been to school. I was born in a village where there was no school. I had no idea about education. And in our culture, what I used to hear when I was very young, education or town or urban areas was a place where poor children would be sent to, or bad children who could not listen. They would send them to school somewhere so that they can survive there and learn hard things, not anything good at all. Yep. So when I luckily happened to be sent to school, it's not that I was bad, but it's also some kind of during the Civil War, people were getting to learn more about modernization and education, the importance of education. And also, we were born as only boys in our family. My father, they were all boys, and then we were also boys, no girl.
Okay.
And for us in our culture, if you are all boys, then you will struggle, because it's very expensive to get married, because you have to pay a lot of cows for a girl. So if you were born with sisters, then you will be the respected person, because all of your sisters will get married, and then there are cows, the dowries, so you use them to marry. But if you are all boys,
culture is only in our like countries.
If you are all boys, that's like a curse. You know, so people will see you only as burden, because if there's like conflict between different tribes, that's where you'll be fighting and all of that. And if there is a time where you've got to pay compensation and everything, your tribes, your clan will suffer, because all of the boys involved in the conflict, that will be...
these things still happening.
They still happen in the village there. So it was very hard for us to think about how we could get married in the first place. So my father, they were hard workers. They could do a lot of farming and use leftover crops to buy cows to sponsor their marriages. And it was the same thing when it was our turn. So my father instilled those values of hard work and everything in us, and made sure that every single one of us could work so hard. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to get married one day. So when the Civil War broke out, and the rebels, the South Sudanese rebels at that time, they opened school in liberated areas, villages, and they were able to open a primary school near our village, under the trees, by the way, because there were no pencil, no pen, nothing. So we would just write under the tree, and if it rained, then that meant there were no classes. That's how we started. Like I started my primary school, and no clothes, nothing, no shoes, and no breakfast, nothing. You just walk there, come back to the village, and we just had a lot of fun. And then when I came here, I use all of those experiences to guide my decision-making process every day. And also, I had to believe, and still do believe, that we as human beings create our own space in history. And it doesn't matter where you're from, your background, your family background, your cultural background, your choices and your hard work and values and principles can secure your space in history. And if you are not happy with something where you are born, we are not like trees. You know, the tree can grow up there, but it cannot remove itself or change the environment in which it grows. But as human beings, we can change things.
We can.
If you are born in a certain condition environment, and you feel like something has to change, we do have those capabilities where we can change things in our life and be better and be different from our fathers and from our children. So, parent. So these are the things that I was always thinking about, and to make sure that I would do things that my family and my friends and the community would be proud of. So that's how I managed to overcome all the difficulties you mentioned earlier here in the new system.
Everybody have a two way to go. And this is the lesson for the people who just make a complaints. You know, the one person on the same village born, and he choose to go further beyond the boundaries and make a difference in his own life or in his own family's life. It's always have a two way to go. Which way? Yes, you choose tough one. It's not easy to leave home country. It's not easy to leave our own culture, own people. And I think this is every single migrants have a courage to take this hard decision, because it's easy to stay where you are and just to make a complaint and whinging about the situations. And you know, and even in my country is also say that is always remember where you came from. So then you're gonna appreciate where you are today.
Absolutely. Definitely.
And you know where you're gonna go in future.
Absolutely.
So it's the whole depends on the mindset. And you I can tell you it's not a easy path. You choose the hard one, and you're making a difference. You are like proud member in your community. Other day when I attend your event in Maruka, and I was so impressed, and straight away I asked about you to Girme, and he just gave me like a 2 minutes brief, and I said no, I really want him in my show, because yes, he make a difference. Because another thing is, Benny, is it's a not everybody gets success, I can tell you, and I believe you know too. but it's always like it's better to die in the battlefield than just sitting on the corner. That's a more prouder to when you die in try. At least. So I always tell my kids to try to follow like a food wise. I always tell that you guys are so lucky. You guys born in here. You don't know what your mom and dad been through. Like when we are moving here. It's you have to respect that. You are like that's a God gift. You guys born in as Australian citizen.
Absolutely.
And this is the first time my wife and both kids they go in India. This is the first visit. It's the one boy is turned 12 and one is the turn 11, and I asked him yesterday, I said, "Oh, did you see any Indians there?" And he's so like, he said, "I only see Papa Indians only." And he said the funniest part is in Australia, I see more like different color and background people. In here, it's just similar looking. I said, this is all because you are staying in one state at this stage. If you go, India have like a 30-40 states. 30-40 states means is a 30-40 countries. Because each and every single states have a different kind of complexions. We have if you go south side of India, we have a darker complexion. If you go in the north side of India, we have a little bit lighter complexions. And then dressing sense, food, every single water, every single 40-50 kilometer, the water taste is change. Food, same food in the one state, but every 50 to 100 kilometer, the food recipes change.
Wow.
So when you travel, if I say you travel on the different states, that means you're traveling different country, because every single Indian know at least 3 languages. One is his state language, which state he born. If he born in Punjab, he know Punjabi. If he born in Haryana, he know Haryanvi. If he born in Gujarat, he know Gujarati. So it's a lots of kind of languages. And then food, same kind of food, like the naan bread or curry, but the recipe is totally different, change in different state. So I tell him, I said, because you are in one state, like is only in one state and one city, if you go there, you're gonna find everybody similar for sure. But he said, but it's, and then I asked, okay, how's the weather? He said, so hot and so loud. And he said, we are even sitting at home and we can even hear the whole traffic and horn and everything.
Wow.
And I said, yeah. It's just imagine like the state you are go, one state, the whole state population and the whole country Australia population is same. So just imagine if the whole Australia came in Queensland, what's gonna happen? Of course you're gonna heard the that's
true.
That's it's and I always tell that like you have to experience other culture and they know. And the another thing is I always say the system, because of this is a multicultural land and established by immigrants, and so everybody understand, and whatever you say about your settlement in here and the problems you face, believe it or not, this is my problem as well. I face the same, and every single person who migrated from different country to here, they're facing the same.
Absolutely, yeah.
Difference only is how we react. As I said before, we always have a 2 way to go. You want to whinging, sit down on the side and just whinging, oh man, I was on there so comfortable, or here, or just get up and bloody do something.
Yep.
You know, and other day my kid said he wanna be a astronaut or something like that, and I said, all right, you wanna change the word, right? Start bloody make your bed first. Clean up your room. You talking about you wanna change the word? Just starting from here.
Yep.
Don't just need to be, oh, I'm gonna grown up and I'm gonna do. Start doing it. Simple. Who stops you?
True.
You know, it's a kind of foundation.
Yep.
You're gonna make yourself on disciplined, and of course then you're gonna be reached there wherever you are, wherever you want.
Yep.
Simple. And especially in this country,
I agree.
This country is a land of opportunity, and any person who wanna work hard, this country never ever say we don't have a success for you.
Yep.
Success is just around the corner. All you need to do bloody work hard for it.
I agree.
You're not gonna get in bloody just while you're sitting in there,
True.
right?
I agree.
Okay, we are now in 2015. Your study finish, and now you tell me are you married now?
Yep.
What year you married?
Well, I married in. I left my girlfriend in 2007,
Okay,
and then
back in country.
yeah, back in Uganda, not in South Sudan.
Wow. Okay.
And she was still like in private school, and I just finished high school. And when I left,
Yeah.
she conceived,
Yes.
a firstborn, and
Yes.
we were not aware. So just a
Wow.
few weeks after I arrived, so it
Yes.
became clear she was pregnant.
Wow.
And by that time, I still had about 5 brothers who were older than me and were not married.
Yes.
And in our
Yes.
culture,
You're the naughty
that
one.
it won't happen. You're not
the
allowed
naughty
to get married
Yep,
before
yep.
your
That's
older
true.
brothers
That's
and
true.
all that. The same thing with
Yes.
her. She had other older sisters, and
Yes.
she was at the age where nobody could believe she could even
Yeah.
get pregnant very young.
So you were the
it was a
younger-
big
younger-
thing. I'm the last born.
Lastborn. I'm the lastborn too.
Yeah.
And the little one's always naughty, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I worked hard, and like I said, I think it's important for us to know that when you come to a new country like Australia, there are a lot of people that take things for granted.
True.
And especially when you look at young people from migrant background, they're taking
They try to
opportunities for
explore the
granted
system,
and
yes.
don't really understand what's going on.
Exactly.
And now, even with some of our young people who are having issues with the law,
Yep.
are those who were born here or came here when they're relatively younger and had no knowledge or understanding of where they came from.
Yep.
There's identity crisis and all that.
Yep.
And for that reason, I've been decided to write a book that was published in 2012.
Okay.
So I wrote my first book just to share my story. And I did that because I just wanted to share my story with
That's
most of
true.
our young
That's
people
true. And
to
that's why
understand
we
that
are
they're very
here
lucky
today.
to be in
Yeah.
this country. Yeah.
That's why you are here today.
Mm.
Okay. We're going to back to your family.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about first. That looks interesting. We're not going to let you from there. You can't sneak out. All right. Tell me more about that.
Well, I went back.
Reunion. Okay. We can start from when you get the reunion with your partner.
Yeah, the first thing was to facilitate the marriage in the first place, get the approval from her father. The when she
What year?
That was 2009.
2009.
Yeah, so like she got pregnant in 2007 when I was coming here. So and it became a big issue because her father was a minister, a senior minister in the government of South Sudan.
Wow.
and a very well-known, successful lawyer. So because my wife came from a different family, so her parents are well-educated. Her father is a lawyer, very successful lawyer, respected government official, been a minister for many years in the government of South Sudan, while myself came from a very humble, poor background with parents who never been to school. So we come from totally different backgrounds, and we got to love each other based on like our the way we liked each other. So the first thing that I had to do was to get approval from my older brothers, and to allow me to get married to her. And that was the first thing. As soon as they were very happy, and they knew me very well, they said, if we do this, as long he loved her, if we allowed him to get married, that will motivate him more to even do a lot of great things, because he would be very happy.
Wow.
So they approved that, and then the next step was to convince my in-laws, especially my father-in-law, who was very angry at that particular time. They were talking to the president of South Sudan, so I could be deported back home. And
that's a Bollywood
he
movie.
He got convinced, and he was convinced. His older brother was convinced that, and a lot of people who knew me convinced him, and they said, this young man, as long his family and brothers said he's going to, so he's a very hard working person, and you'll be proud of him in the future. He will be one of your best children. So like, if you say yes, he's a good person. So he got convinced, and the marriage was approved. That's why I spent 1 year working on the farm to make money, so I could buy a lot of cows for the marriage.
Wonderful.
So that's how it happened. And I brought them in 2009, and then I went to uni.
That's so wonderful. And do you know this is a full Bollywood movie?
I don't know.
We have a similar kind of so many stories in our Bollywood.
Yeah.
Like it's and we have a similar kind of things. Like if the little brother want to marry, he can't unless the old brothers get married, and the same with the girls as well. And we have a dowry on the girl side. And if you have a girl, then the father of the girls, like you can say, they start saving money from their childhood. Because when their marriage, and it's all depends on we have a lots of class system, and it's all depend. Some spend 200,000, some spend 100,000, some spend more than like 100 million. They bought a house for like a new couple. They bought a cars to start their journey. That's a culture, and that's wonderful.
Amazing.
And even yesterday, today is Monday, right?
Yeah.
So I think Saturday. Saturday I was in one of the Malayali community. They celebrating Onam, and the Waltz, the Queensland Alliance or Community Alliance or something. Waltz his name. He was in Toowoomba as well. So who wear a Yes t-shirts, and he talked about
Walters.
Walters, yes, sorry. And he met me, and we sit together and we see the dance performance of Malayali community. That's the south part of India. The state name is Kerala. And I sit with him and I said, Waltz, did you realize one thing in here? He said, what? I said, in African community, like when they dance, especially folk dance, the village one, right? They dance in group and in round circle. And I said, look at that. And that's basically the similar kind of dance done in Kerala in village side. That's a folk dance. They don't perform on that time on the stage. And he said, oh yeah, that's true. And I said, when you go deeper to other culture, you can find so many similarities.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Even with the indigenous people.
Even indigenous people.
Yep.
And the Girme other day post the video other day on live, and I got a notification and I see that circle there as well. I think it's someone's wedding, I think, on that time.
Yeah, it was the Eritrean cultural festival.
Exactly. Everybody in the white dress, and they just round and round and dance, and
exactly,
and this is the same in Kerala, people doing it. And even the Punjabi, when they do kind of the lady, when they basically dance, it's called Gidda. And very colorful, very energetic one. They make a circle. And the two girls, one is come from here, one is come from here. They play, and then they go back, and the two comes another one. So it's kind of, it's similarities. And especially after the internet, we have a more kind of knowledge about other cultures. We know more. Even some YouTubers go in South Sudan and tell the promote the tourism.
That's the globalization.
Exactly. So now nobody only assumptions only. Everybody know at least something. All you need to do is to bloody open your eyes. Some people, they you can wake up someone if sleep. You can't wake up someone who just trying like be a blind, because I see the similarity, right? When I tell Walters, he see the similarity, right? So, but some people, they see that similarity, but they not admit it. They are on denial mode, and unfortunately, we have these people as well. And the good thing is we have less people when we compare to the rest of the world. We have less people in Australia on that kind of no politics and no anything in here. That's the beauty of Australian.
I agree.
All right. So 2015, you finish your study, you married person, and now we talk about your OAM. That's one of the very big achievement, I can say. It's not like people spend like more than decades in community services, and then they get it. Now you tell me how you get it and what make difference after that.
I would attribute that to those values that my parent had instilled in me, that allowed me to make the right choices when I came here. So after I finished my first degree 2012, then graduated with my first master's in 2014, I got a job in 2013 working with an organization called Youth of the Street based in New South Wales. So I was one of the people employed to implement federal government initiatives nationally in terms of youth crime prevention and counter-terrorism. So Youth of the Street hired me in Queensland, and I was the first ever manager that they hired in Queensland, and I established the first ever programs in terms of youth engagement and youth crime prevention that they established in Queensland. So it's a big organization in New South Wales. They have more than 500 employees nationally. So I started.
What's the organization name?
Youth of the Street. That's the name. Father Chris. Yeah, Youth of the Street. Yep.
Okay.
So it's a big company.
You were the manager.
Yeah, I was their pest manager in Queensland. So I started their programs in Queensland and did a lot of work. And also in 2018, when there were some issues in Melbourne, the CEO and founder of Youth of the Street, his name Father Chris Raleigh, approached me and asked me to go to Melbourne, and did the same thing that I did in Queensland. I went there, conducted need-based analysis, and established the programs and recruited some staff. and we established an outreach programs to support young people. So in 2 years, I was managing the programs in Victoria and Queensland, ply out every week. And I did that work for more than 8 years, like about 9 years actually, managing the programs, and did a lot of work in different prisons, juvenile detention centers in different schools, and running court support programs and things like that. So, and then I also did a lot of work in terms of community advocacy, advocating for inclusion and opportunities for people from refugee and migrant background. So did all of those things without thinking of recognition or anything, but there were some people obviously hearing and observing what I was doing, and I got many different awards apart from the Medal of the Order of Australia. So I got many different community and government awards over the years, and I had my name also added to the National Monument to Migration in Sydney. If you go to like the Darling Harbour and go to the wall of the National Maritime Museum, you'll find my name on the wall there as one of the migrant recognized and celebrated for their contribution to Australia.
So proud of you, man.
So there had been many different awards here and there and recognition before I got nominated for the Medal of Order of Australia. And basically that's something whoever nominates you will have to provide a lot of evidence, and I was on the news much of the time, and during the COVID-19 I did a lot of work. If you can see it in terms of the African community, we've got we are the most culturally and linguistically diverse community. 54 countries, and in each country you find too many different language groups, cultural groups and all that. So when COVID-19 hit in 2020, and SBS was circulating like 63 languages and everything. So I knew 100% that our community would be the most disadvantaged given the level of illiteracy and also different languages that were not catered for. So what I did, I went through the list that was being circulated by the government, and I identified that only 4% of African languages were actually translated in that list, and that meant 96% of widely spoken African languages were not catered for. So I did a lot of work and developed a comprehensive list that I presented to the government, and the government and agencies could not help because most of those languages had no accreditation.
True.
And they had no certified translators. So I ended up mobilizing all different ethnic community leaders as volunteer translators to help translate the health messages and everything. And then I approached the ABC, TV and other media outlets like SBS to actually talk about the gaps and where the issues were. So that's where I become very prominent, and then the issues around the African youth crime and everything. So I was on different media outlet every now and then. Almost every few weeks you'll see me on TV, different like TV channel 9, 7 and SBS here and there, responding to some of those crises. So I become like the face of the community, trying to respond to some of very racist kind of commentary that were happening at that particular time. And when some 2 African girls during the COVID also came from Melbourne.
That's true.
And they were making news. So I was out there most of the time. So all of that kind of contributed to the evidence of what I was doing, although I did not pay too much attention to that. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. And over the years, I find myself doing a lot of work everywhere. And when I assume the leadership of the African community, apart from my role as a full-time employee, so I also established the youth agency within the community. And within a year of doing that, I managed to employ more than 12 paid youth workers within my community. That never happened in the history of the African community, to employ people. So, and we established 3 centers now, like what we call African village centers. And that the first time that happened. And we have paid full-time employees doing work with the vision that we need to establish strategic partnerships with services. So services are well informed about the nature of our communities and the nature of challenges that we're trying to do. So there's a lot of work that I put in, and that's driven by my values, my family values, and also the need to really help the community that is struggling to engage with the system.
And what year you win that OM? What year you get this recognition?
I got it in 2021. Yeah.
2021. What month?
Yeah, that was during the Queen birthday.
Birthday. Okay, that's wonderful, man.
Yeah.
So proud of you. So proud
Thank
of you.
you.
And believe it or not, as I said, I have only 2 minutes talk to get me on that time. And when I decided I'm gonna sit with him and I'm gonna talk. And what I do, I choose not to know beforehand to the person, because I want to make this conversation as candid as possible, as like a kind of planned, and I just wanted to pick the basically want to keep it natural, basically, not a robotic one. That's what the whole idea is. And but today I heard the from you, like that's so amazing. I don't even have I can tell you, don't even have a 0.5% of what you're saying today. Not even 0.5%. I don't
Thank
even
you.
have
Yeah,
any idea.
I appreciate that.
Tell me more about, during this journey, we have we already talk about the problems and facing issues and these kind of stuff. Now I need you to give me your best memorable, anything, memorable day, memorable event, memorable anything, like which you wanna to bring it today in our podcast and share with our audience.
Well, I think there's too many things that I can recall and be very proud of. But in terms of the event, the one most important event was last year in 2022, when the Queensland government, the Premier, decided to host an official parliamentary reception for the African community in the parliament for the first time.
Okay.
That never happened in the history of the African community. And there are a lot of different cultural groups where the government recognize, celebrate them every year in the parliament. But for the African community, nothing like that has ever happened before. That was the first time for the government to organize an official reception, parliamentary reception, where the Premier and all the ministers and everyone and leaders from other multicultural background came to the Parliament House. And I dressed in my traditional attire and to deliver my speech at the Parliament to talk about the democratic values and things that happen in a democratic country like Australia. If I reflected on my journey to where I am and the thing that I have been able to achieve, I could have not done that if Australia was not a democracy, because I had no relatives, no uncles, no cousins, no people that could lift me to their level. And I was able to realize my aspirations, my dream, my vision, because the democratic institutions created that environment where it's up to me to actually lift myself up. And when I reflected on that, and also when Griffith University announced me as the outstanding young alumni of the year last year as well.
Wow.
So that was all over the place, everywhere. And I reflected on all of those things, and at the Parliament House, I became even really very emotional to just look at my journey and how we were celebrated there.
When we're talking about traditional attire, you're talking about when I attend the event in Moruka. So the guy who stand on the drum, that's the attire you're talking about?
That's different, yeah. We normally dress differently.
Yeah.
And the attire that I wore at that night was very different, and people could not recognize my face because they never actually seen me like that, and they did not expect me to be dressing like that.
Yeah. Do you need any special permission to like did you let the organizers know?
Nah.
Like you're gonna know?
Nah.
Okay.
I just turn up.
So that's a turn up. Okay.
I just turn up, and people were surprised, and the whole dressing actually took the show, like stole the show. Everybody was taking photos with me, and it was all over the place on social media, everywhere.
Wow.
And all the comments were just about what I was wearing.
You know how to be a showstopper, huh? Cheeky, huh?
Just wanted to make sure that this was
the whole show, man.
cultural and more of a traditional part of it.
Oh, no, that's so
So that was very special, very
okay,
special.
if you don't mind, can I ask you, is that picture or that video is available online, or if you
you can find it,
because I'm gonna post it somewhere while we're talking, because I'm gonna bring this.
You can find some of those photos even at on
your
the
Facebook?
Queensland African Communities Council Facebook.
Okay.
And then you go to 2022, you'll find like some of those
try,
photos.
and if I couldn't find, I'll
just let me know,
contact you.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me the now our youngsters are also watching you, right? And what advice to youngsters?
Well, my advice to the young people is that every single day is a gift in our life. When you wake up and you are alive, and the choices that we make every day determine our future. Future starts with what you do. And it is important, and I think there's a say from one of the American former president, that if you want to predict your future, create one now. So your future is something that you make out of it. So you don't expect to wish for something good or dream about something good and you don't work for it. So if you want a really good life or whatever future you want to see yourself in, you create it, and you don't do it at an older age. So it's now when you are still young, that's where you can actually build a future. So it's important for our young people to know that you are very lucky to be in Australia, a land of many opportunities. So if you work so hard, you'll make your way through, and it just comes down to how you want to be remembered for, how you want to be remembered by your family, how you want to be remembered by your community and your friends. And it's all of those aspirations that will determine and guide your choices every day. So that would be my advice. And also to know that do not waste your time. Do not waste your time. There are a lot of people who would think that they still have plenty of time, they can just do this and that, but still they will do great things later on. It has to start now at a younger age if you really want to live a successful life.
That's wonderful. Okay. Is there anything else you want to share while we are wrapping up?
Well, what I would share is I want to share with people from multicultural background and people from collectivist cultures, and very specifically people from developing countries. So when you look at the developmental history, why some countries are advanced and some countries are still behind.
Yep.
You look at the African continent where some of the countries gain independence. They are independent many years ago, and they still maintaining the same status as third world countries or poor countries, while some of other countries were colonized, and after they gained their independence, within a century, within a generation, they actually become like developed and first world countries. An example is Singapore, a very small, tiny island with no natural resources and everything.
True.
And these are the questions that people from developing countries and from some of those countries need to ask themselves, how does that happen? So, and that just come down to two things. One is the leadership within yourself as a person. You've got to be a leader of yourself, and leadership within the broader society. And if you have a leadership, you will have a vision for yourself. Where do you want to see yourself in 15, in 20 years time, or even after death? After you are dead, how do you want your name to be remembered? You can have a vision, even like afterlife vision. And then that vision, you translate it into a plan. And some of these countries that have developed come down to leadership, vision, and then you create institutions. So the system of governance is so critical, and everything that we do, we need to be reflecting on some of those historical movements and also the developmental history, and why some countries are advanced and some countries are behind, why some people are very successful and some people are not successful. So you would be in the same room and you see things very differently. So it's more about the choices and learning from success stories, what other people have done very well, and how you can uniquely put yourself there and actually achieve what you want to achieve.
Okay, Benny, you like, how do you see yourself to making an impact on contributing to multicultural community in the future?
Well, like I'm doing already. So my job is to make sure that the institutions in this country reflect the modern day Australian diversity.
Yeah.
So we talk about multiculturalism, we talk about cultural diversity, but that's very much existing when we are celebrating our cultural festivals, when different ethnic groups come together and celebrate and dance.
Yep.
Where I want to see myself is to challenge the system so that people from multicultural background are given the opportunities to be at the table where decisions are made, and to send a very strong message that Australian multiculturalism doesn't only exist at festivals. It can also exist within institutions that govern us.
True.
We can have people in parliament, we can have people as CEOs, we can have people as director general and all of that.
True.
That is when we can be fully multicultural. And that's when our children can grow up very proud and feeling belong and understood and values. So, and that takes a lot of hard work and leadership from the community, leadership from individuals, and leadership within those institutions as well, to make sure that there are no systemic barriers that prevent people from going there. And when you see that a lot of multicultural communities are underrepresented at leadership level. It's not that there are no educated people or knowledgeable people or qualified people. It's because of systemic barriers. And when there are institutionalized discriminatory practices, so it makes it so hard for someone to go to actually climb the ladder of leadership. And that's my focus now. Like when you see people rising to leadership role, it's address a lot of other problems that we talk about. There's so many social complexities and challenges that we talk about in the community. But if you empower people and give them the skills and knowledge, especially at the leadership level where resources are allocated and decisions are made, programs are designed and policies are developed. So there's so many things you can address just through leadership, directly or indirectly. So as someone from multicultural background, there's much we can contribute to Australia, and we need to challenge the system in a way that while we appreciate and acknowledge the opportunities in Australia and democracy and everything, it doesn't mean that there are no barriers. We also need to acknowledge that there are problems. There are systemic issues like discriminatory practices, and we need to call that out. We should not just be expected to be grateful for everything, but where things are not working well, we need to talk about those things
always
respectfully
always have a room for improvement.
So that's what I need to see happening. It's more around the leadership and institution being more diverse.
What is your current role and what you do for living at this stage?
Well, at the moment, I'm a senior manager at KEEPAS, Queensland Program of Assistance to Survivors of Torture and Trauma. So I'm a senior manager in charge of partnerships and youth engagement programs. So I look after all of the partnerships aspect and youth engagement services across the state. That's my full-time role, and I do sit on a number of other government boards as well.
Okay. Tell me more about, if you don't mind, to tell our viewers what your organization do and what kind of benefit our viewer can get, what kind of help they can get from you guys. What it's total up to you.
Well, obviously, I don't want to speak for KEEPAS because I would have to get the permission to do that. But KEEPAS is an organization that works with only refugee and asylum seeker communities and help them to heal and recover from trauma as a result of prosecutions and torture and all of that. So there's a lot of programs that we run to help people heal from the past through social education and youth engagement programs, counseling services, parenting, a whole lot of different programs, mainly mental health related kind of programs. And also as president of the Queensland African Communities Council, that's my role in the community. So I'm the leader that represents all the 54 countries in Queensland.
Cool.
And in that role, I do have an agency that's in charge of youth services and family support. We run a lot of programs in different prisons, youth detention centers and adult jail. And we run early intervention programs in different schools to support our children before they slide into antisocial behavior and things like that.
Look, as I said previously, we always have a room for improvement. And today, out of the like a blue eye, just thinking, you came here first time, and I really want your feedback and live, no any sugar coated. What you tell us about your experience and tell us what improvement we need in here.
Well, to be honest, I have I've been impressed. I was not expecting this level of advanced
Really?
organizations and everything.
Really?
This is not what I was expecting to see in terms of the studio, the equipment, and the setup and everything.
Thank you very
and
much.
This also says a lot about what we can do as people from migrant background. And I feel very proud for the work that you do. And I feel like if there's anything that we need to do and improve, it will be identifying some hidden stories in the community.
True.
There's a lot of great stories that are not known, and the public
True.
is always denied an opportunity to
True.
hear about those stories. So anything that we can do out there to identify great stories that we could use to inspire young people, I think that will be great. So that's the only thing I would say. So it's been a privilege coming here and speak to you today.
So nice of you, Benny. You're so kind. And you talk about stories. I want to bring definitely into your attention. We start our podcast not long ago. We name Teri Meri Kahani. Teri Meri Kahani means your and mine stories. In that program, we bring untold story. We bring motivational stories, and yes, we did in Hindi language. We did in Punjabi language. We like a kind of a mix and match with the Hindi, Punjabi, English. So it's more like India, Pakistan, Nepal, and Bangladesh. One we did in Bangladeshi, like the person who came from Bangladesh as well. So we try before I did that one. So this is the first time I attend your event, and Girme is the one who invite me, and even when is the Toowoomba one, and I asked him, I said, do you want me there? And he said, oh, brother, if you came, I really appreciate that. And I said, okay, you count me in. And then again, I see that more I involve in African community or with the Multicultural Australia, I see even less difference. Because when you are sitting in the aside, you see a difference. All you need to do, bloody open up yourself and see that we are bloody all same. It's, as I said, in India, every 40-50 kilometer we have a water taste change, the recipes change, the people's living styles change, people's like a state languages change, you know. And that's the beauty of diversity. Absolutely. And when I go and attend your believe it or not, I pick the name Footprint on there basically. And before I come to you, we met only 2 minutes, I think, on the day because you were so busy anyway. And how I pitched to you, I said we start the Footprint. That's 2 minutes ago. I bloody get that name, and how I get that name, the way you speak on the other day on your event, and the people sharing their stories. The youngsters, the one guy who's I think he also I think studied law, and the question to the senior judge, right? That's so impressive. And when I'm talking about I can name in my language Teri Meri Kahani. I know, like, okay, your and mine story. And when I wanna think about on other communities, I don't know the local name, right? So it's gonna be in English, right? And then how I gonna English is then is came up Footprint, right? So we are gonna discuss about, in my language, Teri Meri Kahani. We discussing our end of the day. We discussing our migration issue and migration stories. The first episode I done with the one guy. He live in Darwin. He came here I met him in the evening in my cousin's, who recently moved from Darwin to Brisbane, and I just sat with him for 5 minutes, and I said, "Let's do podcast." He just tell me there like a brief, and I said, "Look, stop here." That time, my studios wasn't ready. My house outside and inside renovation started, but I did that one, just only that like a wall is ready, and I put front two chairs, and we did the one podcast with him, and he's the Australian of the Year in 2017. He got plenty of state champion, state hero Darwin awards, a lot. He's recognized by SBS, ABC, Channel 9, everywhere. And when I sit with him, and when he tell me the incident, how one incident, and that incident is not like a very good incident, it's just someone like a comment, a racial comment on him, how he look like, and what he want to do is he go out and want to try to educate people. I'm a Sikh guy, and the message he want to give it to spread it to the other community. I'm the Sikh guy, and my guru, my teacher, my priest told me to feed other peoples, the people who are really in need. That guy like do weekend night shift taxi driving, and the Sunday morning he and his wife cook for 100 and 200 meals, and then go Aborigine like areas and give it to them on the free food. Amazing. And I just heard why he came here. He said, I want to like a mobile kitchen. He said like I want to, what he want to do, he said, we have areas where the Aborigine people live there. It's a very remote area, and it's too hard, and sometimes they got like flooded as well, a lot. And he said, I want to make a mobile kitchen, so I'm gonna take my mobile kitchen to where they're like their people after flood they're staying, and I'm gonna cook there whole day and gonna feed them. That's his story. Excellent. So I wasn't ready on that time, but I said, come, I gonna do it on the next day. And the Teri Meri Kahani is also 2 minutes kind of things, and cause how I gonna put my intro, I said, the guy asked me, he said, my friend who director on that time, so camera and lights and everything, and he said, what program you gonna call? And I said, just a stories, Teri Meri story, like your and my story. And yes, Teri Meri Kahani. So I just make it on Teri Meri Kahani. It's on 2 minutes, like straight away word came out, like made for each others. The same when I talk to you, the ambience, the vibes, the aura, I got it. And I just come the bloody voice from inside, like I want to do the one podcast with you. And I believe it or not, I'm not aware of any of these. I only know the guy who work in QPES, the guy who our chairman in African Community, and who win OAM. That's 3 things I know within 2 minutes of a brief intro by Girme. And I said, this is the guy I want to start in English, because then only the way I gonna widen the community, and our audience is we have a 200,000, more than 200,000 subscriber in YouTube channel, Indooztv, and we have more than 10 community groups. And till before, I have Indians in Brisbane. We have 86,000 members, and that's the slogan of that group is bringing community together. Then Gujarati in Brisbane, Punjabi in Brisbane. This morning I started like a Malayali in Brisbane, because Saturday I attend Malayali event, and I said, wow, I don't know, like and the efforts they put in. The one more thing I'm gonna tell you, the Malayali people, they celebrating Onam, and believe it or not, They have, I saw 10 different kind of performance from age 5 years old kid to 60 years old, right? Generations, how many generation? And they are common people, and it look like they are born actors. And how I can say they are not like they look like they all like professional dancers.
Yeah.
And the folk dance, they're doing that's why I said when they are in circle and they're traditional. So in their community, I see that, and attention to detail. Every group have their own kind of dressing. They spend the money on even as a community. How we don't go to the details, right? All idea is to get together, right? But attention to detail. And I was so impressed. And I make this morning, I make this one, and I said, no, we needed this one. Because, because they have their own kind of festivals. Because I'm from North India anyway. And I know we have you heard about Diwali, the festival of lights, right? Which is definitely a whole India celebrate. But some festivals, it's only statewide basically. The Punjabi people they celebrate Lodi or Vaisakhi. They have a Tiya. So, but the when I see the south side of Indians, they celebrating Onam, right? So it's like their Christmas, right? So yeah, I was so impressed.
It's
and
a lot of stories
this morning I just make a group. I said, come together in one place. So yeah, we have a quiet and okay, what is the common language in Africa?
There's no common language.
No any common language.
No.
Okay.
Within every country there will be hundreds of languages.
Yeah, this is the same issue in India too.
The only thing now, if you go to the only major languages across the African continent is English, Arabic, French, and Kiswahili. Those 4 languages.
Okay, that's we can say the
languages that are spoken across different countries. If you want to communicate with different people, those are the 4 languages. There are French-speaking countries that were colonized by French. And then there are Arabic-speaking countries like North Africa all the way to the west, because predominantly Muslim. And then eastern part, there's a lot of people that speak English, and English is the official language, and Kiswahili.
Okay. The reason I asked, I always tell my guests, especially on the other culture background or other language one, I want them to, or I give a message in your language to the audience, because I gonna take this one to on that audience too. So. Now use this camera and in your language, just wrap up, tell about our channel, tell about the good message, and just wrap it up in your language. No problem at all. I really want you to do that.
Yeah, and chapo miet chan ba bente nakal ko ba benejam ke go koi pande chaman ran nong barnami kan ran India. Kwa chia bebe ya beneti to len chen po miet ne kacha kelo ay ketinga ka wende big pinnam konyiban ene chena chol ko babene jam kegie ko be tidien chan kang loeten bi koy ko big ting ko big ping ko be koy ko dead for the na no mit when you be chokwen bi ga koy nyak ke be pen ka chirika ko bi ka karala chokwen bi pian den be chen yene ne ke jam oktenakal a sheran ko chol erande loe. Thank
you, Benny. Thank you very much. All right, guys. So now the time to wrap up, and I hope you guys enjoy. And we gonna keep doing with the Multicultural more episode. And please tell us, give us feedback, because I believe we always have a room for improvement. And your suggestions, your feedback help us to keep improving. So this is the first episode, Footprint. My name is Amit Kumar, and I sign off today. Thank you.